Hello everybody and welcome to another Twitch Dev Tuesday. We are back fresh from PSX. We got swanky hats with our big announcement. Finally, we can talk about it. It's very, very, very exciting. So yeah, PS4. We're coming to PS4. It's going to be fantastic. Bigger player base all around. It's going to be good stuff.
Yep.
For those of you who are new, I am Zeke Dinohedron Sparks.
And I am Lincoln Tivers Hamilton.
And we are two devs on Brawlhalla, and every Tuesday we like to get on and talk with everybody in Twitch, talk about the game, like things that are going on behind the scenes that maybe aren't ready for the full version of the game yet, and play some games and do lots of giveaways too. So we're gonna do that. Actually, before we get into talking about stuff, let's go ahead and set up the first giveaway here. Let's see, first giveaway.
I totally forgot to print something to bring out. I apologize. This is not a joke. This is not me like, and then reveal. They grabbed me and were like, you're getting on in a minute, and I just didn't have time to print it. So I apologize. If there's some way I can fix it, I will. Maybe drop by on Thursday.
Oh good, 100-foot Fox, the chroma key's on point. We just redid it and it was having problems. My hat was invisible and then Lincoln's nose was invisible, and now we're maybe okay.
But
we'll
invisible nose is very cool.
It was pretty.
Try it sometime.
Yeah, it was pretty awesome. Okay, giveaway. Let's see. What are we gonna do for the keyword? I think.
Oh, I don't know. I've never picked one. Yeah,
PSX
I guess that makes sense.
Hype. PSX hype. All one word.
Oh, that's good. Half the people are gonna type PS4 hype and be confused.
Probably. Get the moderators out. Tivers does have a green nose. We just paint it before we get on screen. Yeah.
It's the other side that I hide from the camera.
Yeah.
And so
PSX,
I know one of the things
we
we're talking about is, hey, do you have any PlayStation-related questions? We're going to answer any types of questions. So it's not just PlayStation-related, like, hey, what are you working on? What does this do to the schedule next year? Why is this great news for us?
Yep.
And then we're happy to answer all those as well.
Any kind of, we're just happy to do a big AMA. You know, it is a big deal. It is fantastic opportunity to work with Sony like this, and it's really good news for Brawlhalla. And so there's going to be tons and tons of questions since our announcement was so brief. Somebody was asking why no press releases along with the announcement. The reason is because we were waiting to break it in the keynote. So since we were in the keynote, we couldn't really do anything before the keynote because that was the time. So we're going to start releasing more and more info about it and getting the news out there more often. And now there's going to be, like, I imagine there's going to be a lot of questions, and chat scrolls by really, really fast, especially when we're doing giveaways. So if we don't get to your question, just ask it again. We'll get to it.
And yeah,
if we're not going to get
to it, everyone's entering the keyword, try to wait on your question because like they're all just disappearing right now, and we want to make sure we get to all of them. And don't worry about, like, you can ask the question again if we didn't get to it. Don't feel like, don't spam, but definitely ask your question again. We want to make sure we field all of them.
And also, like, this is very new to us too, so we won't have all of the answers. But for instance, Designated Asian was asking if you're going to need PS Plus to be able to play online, and I am nearly positive that the answer to that is no. That this game is going to be free to play and available for the whole PS4 audience.
Yes. So yes, to caveat all of our responses, we are mostly confident our responses are correct, but as I believe it's been said on stream before, we can be wrong.
Yeah.
And everything is best intentions here, so we will do our best.
That's right. But we'd rather give you an answer, at least what we think is the answer now, instead of being wishy-washy and hemming and hawing. So yeah, it should be open to everybody. So there's a lot of talk about exclusive items.
Yeah,
so we want to clear it up just to be clear. You know, people have said it before. When they're talking about exclusive content for PS4, they're actually talking about cosmetic stuff only. This is our game. You know, the core fundamental of the game is that you are competing based on your skill, not based on like what you have access to or what you've purchased. So nothing that we do that's only available in one place is going to be gameplay related.
Right.
So it's not going to be a character. It's not going to be stats. It's not going to be anything like that. So, most likely this is going to be a character skin. We have to work all the details out on exactly what it is. But most likely it's going to be a character skin, possibly a color, something like that. So it's going to be cosmetic related. That is completely for certain. A couple people have asked if there's going to be a way to get it for PC players. Probably not. Exclusive in general means it's exclusive to one area.
And there will probably be a good reason for that too. It's like what
yes.
we'd like to do is make it PlayStation themed. So just imagine for a second, it's just, I'm not even going to name a legend because you'll all freak out. It's just a shirt with the PlayStation logo on it, right? So that would be weird for players on PC to have access to that shirt with the PlayStation logo on it. Just like if we made a PC specific shirt that had a PC picture on it, it'd be weird for PlayStation players to play with it. So that's all. It's nothing to freak out about. I saw someone mention in chat about the White Fang Nash.
Yep.
We will do giveaways. That kind of promotion is good for the game, just in general, and that's kind of the nature of the beast a little bit.
Yep. So I think that hit most of the questions that I saw about that. Again, we don't know. We don't know what exactly it's going to be. Well, I'm sure we'll be announcing that at some point, and Sony will probably be part and parcel of figuring out when and how we announce that. So here's another good one. Tenem Mortem, will PS4 be cross-platform? We very much hope so. I'll hedge that one just a little bit, just because there's a lot of details to work out. But that is one of the big upsides that we see, is that we can get players playing across platforms. There's no limitation on our end that would stop that. And so far, everything's looking good for that direction to take hold. So hopefully, it's just going to grow the Brawlhalla family, make queues faster, make everything a lot smoother and more stable in the end. It'll be really, really good.
So the question about will you be able to link your accounts? So that one's tricky, and I'm going to give you the best explanation that I can. There are different ways that different games have done this kind of thing. We've heard of, for games that were released first, potentially a one-time switch, that
like a migration
of your Steam account to your PlayStation account. But I do not believe it will be possible. I don't think any parties involved would like it if you were able to use both, just because store revenue, all those things get very tricky, along with just... I think that's part of it. So no is the short answer.
Yeah, probably not. Right now, we're most likely just keeping it nice and clean. Just there's the two different areas, and there's not if we did something, the most likely thing would be like a one-time limited window migration, and we're not even sure that that's really gonna work out. So, but again, we'll keep talking about it. We'll keep looking at all these options. The closer we get, I mean, nobody's asked time. That seems crazy to me that nobody's asked about time. We're looking for like a summer, sometime around in the summer of 2016. Soon, summer TM.
Right.
We can trademark everything, all of the things. Yeah, so let's see. Can we stop working on the game and make it Brawlhalla online with Brawlhalla shirts and plushies and stuff? We cannot stop working on the game to do that, because the game is our focus and our life. But we do have some stuff like that in the works, which I know I've been saying for quite a while, but it's been in the works for quite a while. So we know that people want it. We know that that demand is there, and we're trying to find a way to start approaching that without actually, stopping work on the game, which is the A1 thing that we need to do.
So the when will we be able to select the CPU characters in custom matches? It is something we're considering. It gets a little weird experience-wise with trying to pick characters. Can you pick a CPU character that you don't own? Is the character select screen constantly switching between modes? So it's obviously we're not holding it back from you for any particular reason other than that screen already has a lot going on. We want to add things like handicapping. We want to add some other features to it, and just sort of picking the other CPUs to play against just hasn't been a huge priority, but we know it's a feature you guys want.
Yeah. Okay, let's see. I'm gonna find one more question. I'm just gonna look over and find one more question, and then we're gonna do our first giveaway. Let's see. What do we got? How will PS Valve's store affect pricing? Will you be able to keep the founders packs etc. for the same price across both? So in general, this is from Designated Asian. In general, we price things where they make sense for the game, and we don't expect that to change when it goes from one platform to another. Depending on timing, we don't know if founders packs are still going to be available when we're actually out on PS4. We're not sure yet, but you can expect to see a parity between the stores. So we're not going to create a situation where there's one place that's like easier to buy for or cheaper to buy for than the other place. We don't want anything confusing like that. Really, all we want to do is have Brawlhalla have an audience in another place, and they can play together. That is the biggest goal for us, is just reaching out to more players. So we don't really want to create anything like these weird ecosystems where you're constantly trying to figure out which is the right place to buy on. The right place to buy on is the place you like playing. That's what we'll be striving for.
Quick request to Rathan. Can you copy all the questions people are asking and just sort of put it in a piece of paper, and as you see us answer them, get rid of them, and then at some point just print it out and bring it to us? Because they're scrolling fast, and we're about to do another giveaway, and they're all just going to vanish again. And I want to make sure people don't feel like we're intentionally dodging their questions. It's just very hard with the delay and people talking. We just are losing questions very quickly. So.
Yeah, and to be more specific, we'll make sure specifically if we're not going to answer your question.
That's right.
Instead of like quietly, secretly trying to dodge it.
Us, or is they actually?
Yeah, we'll just let you know. Okay, let's go back to the giveaway here. Oh, it was good. It's been like 2 weeks since I've done this. I haven't been on the last two, and when I looked up to switch to the giveaway, for a moment I was terrified that I had never switched away from the giveaway. But it's good. We're good.
I don't know. I think they span pretty well if we. Though I mean, the giveaway versus our faces.
Okay.
Take or leave it.
Yeah. Here we go. PSX hype giveaway. This is for community colors. First one, Ogie Mesa. Ogie Mesa, if you want the community colors, let Rathan know. He will send one to you. And everybody else, make sure that you sign up. We're going to do more giveaways for this before the end of the show. More giveaways. Do more. Sign up. Wait, I found a way to show what it was last time. Did we just go back to here? There, yeah! PSX hype. Yes, look. We're learning.
To answer the question I can see on screen right now, will there be any new characters from a Sony PlayStation property appearing in Valhalla? So we're never going to have a character available on one platform that doesn't exist on the other. It would just sort of fundamentally break the game, especially with how much we want crossplay to exist. Now, if they were comfortable having it exist on both, well, we're always open to talking about crossovers like that. But
or skins. Skins is the other avenue.
Skins is the easier way to do it, because we can kind of create our own lore and characters, and then we can kind of layer a skin on top to remind people of where it's from.
Yep.
With that kind of crossover stuff, the people who own the IP are very particular about how they want it to look and feel, and we're very particular about how we want the game to play. And so that's always going to kind of make it hard for us to have a character dedicated to it. But yeah, like Zeke said, a skin is a much easier place for both sides to kind of find common ground.
Yeah, particularly because if we brought a new character in, there's a very good chance that we would want to do it with a new weapon to try to match their feel a lot better. And that would mean that feel would also exist on a lot of other characters as well. So it's pretty tricky. We like the idea of doing, sort of cross licensing and stuff like that with games that we like. And so, I wouldn't rule anything out, especially on the skins level, but it is difficult to get those things to work because you have to have, both parties have to be into it. If it's something that's a Sony specific stuff, Sony has to be into it too. And then not only do both people have to be into it, but both people have to kind of be down with how it's going to be represented in a game. And so if we were to take somebody that's like very realistic and gritty and try to put them in Brawlhalla, it would be a very different presentation of that character. And so they would have to be excited about that too. And so, there's a lot of possibilities that are out there. None of that is anywhere close to being like, here's what we're going to do yet. So yeah, it could happen. But we'll see. We'll have to wait and see. Somebody kept asking, Jaximus Rhymes, you keep asking, will there be a scythe in the game? We hear that question a lot. It's on the sort of top of the list of weapons that we talk about every time we talk about what the next new weapons are. We haven't decided what comes after bow, so we don't know what weapon that'll be, so I can't guarantee it. I think it's very likely that over the lifehood.
That's a word.
I'm going with
Go
it.
ahead.
Over the lifetime of the game, I think it's pretty likely that a weapon like that will show up, but I don't know kind of what order it is. But it's on our lists, and we know we're paying attention to when people talk about it. The biggest trick that we ask ourselves every time we look at the scythe is like, how many different characters can use the scythe, or are we really looking at every character who has it as a Grim Reaper?
Right.
And so, but we've had some pretty good ideas for it, I think. So, Lifehood, yeah, Wraithen, it's good. Write that one down. Make sure we don't lose it.
All right, I'm going to try and answer like 5 questions that I think I've tried to memorize. South American servers. To answer that question, we're still just getting, we've had problems with the EU servers back when we doubled capacity. A couple of them are wrong. I think we finally got all that sorted. We're about to put up our doubling of Southeast Asia capacity servers. South America and Oceanic are the next ones that we want to go to. With Southeast Asia and with Europe, and obviously US because we're here, but we kind of knew what the right vendors were and had pretty solid performance, and with EU we've actually tested a couple. We kind of want all that to settle before we start embarking on the other areas, just because as things have trouble, it's a lot of time to kind of manage and test and make sure servers are working properly. So soon-ish, probably not by the end of the year, but I would say early next year. Again, if people know the right vendors, that helps us, that saves us time, but we're doing research, we'll find out. Will Skeleton release tomorrow? No, he will not. You will see him on stream before he releases, probably. But he is soon. Northern Lion skin, I'll let Zeke answer.
It's still in the works. We still haven't gotten a good, like I was talking about, there's all sorts of, like, when you're dealing with other parties and IP and each other, like, coming together, there's all sorts of steps to go through to make sure that everybody's kind of excited about what's going on and happy with what's going on. And so Northern Lion's still kind of thinking over the best kind of approach for a kind of skin to get in our game. So no more progress on that. We will definitely be excitedly shouting out when that one gets starts moving along and gets to the game. Are we gonna come to European conventions at any time? We would love to. We love doing conventions. We meet all sorts of new players, and we have so much fun just seeing new people play the game, seeing the people that already play the game like in person. But it's really hard for us to get overseas. It is not an insignificant cost, and we are a pretty small company.
Totally gonna try and find a way to make it work.
Yes.
So I really want to find a way to get to Gamescom. That's our current plan, is not to be there, but to find a way to try to be there.
Yeah.
So it's not like, oh, are you going to be? Yeah, probably at some point. No, we really do want to find a way. That would be the one we would go to if we were picking one. It's the largest. It's the easiest way for us to kind of meet a lot of people. There's also a non-zero possibility that I will be in Amsterdam to do some server stuff next year. And if I'm there, I will have a mini convention at a place somewhere, and I'll have some keys in my pocket. So
TivCon confirmed.
TivCon in Amsterdam. So those are, we're going to do our best. Just the reality of getting people, when we want to take the whole team to Texas, that's like the same price as sending 2 people to Gamescom. So that's why it's tricky. But we really don't want to leave you hanging.
A couple skeleton questions really quick. Were the stats that we showed final? I don't think they were. I think they were placeholder. I think we're still working on the final stats for those. Will you see SIGs for the skeleton today? No. We're going to play some games with you online. We don't have a local build, so we won't show you the skeleton SIGs today. We want to answer as many questions as we can. And since you have to die to go to Valhalla, how is there a skeleton in Valhalla? Well, skeletons are pretty dead, if you think about it. Also, his lore is pretty cool. I think you're going to like it. There's some pretty fun stuff in there. I don't really want to spoil anything, but let's say that maybe he's not always in Valhalla, and there's a pretty funny reason why. But you'll have to wait to see what that is.
Skins. So I've seen a couple people talk about skins. we release skins. We kind of want to have regular updates to the store. If we dump them all at once, it kind of ruins the excitement about them. Also, they're not all done. I mean, even when you guys find, sneak previews of stuff or dig through game data files, that's part of it. But like a skin is, there's naming, which sounds like it should be easy, but it's not. There's weapon skins, and there's also finalizing it, right? Like what's in there is in a very varying state of done.
Yeah, and finding one part of a skin doesn't mean that like all the other parts are done too. There's a lot of work that goes into each of those skins. So we will continue to be having skins come out. We are working on some special skins right now that I think you'll be excited to see here in the short term. Maybe they are timely, one would say. Maybe. I don't know. Maybe.
That is fair, Pluckerpuck, but we leave it in there. It's fun for everyone. If there's something we're really trying to hide, we will hide it. Maybe. Yes. Or we'll forget and you'll just find it.
Or we'll forget and you'll find
Who
it.
Knows?
Yeah. The Stardust, I think that has your... Oh, and are there ultimate skins? So when we price get like we're talking about higher price skins that have like more involved. When we price skins, they are based on kind of like the amount of work and effort. There's sort of two things: the amount of work and effort that the skin takes to complete, and that's why skins that have those little bits that move when the face changes and animates are in a higher price tier. That's a whole underlying system that we had to add to do that. So there is quite a bit of extra work there.
We also have to go through and make sure, like when it's static, we kind of know how it's going to look in all the animations. Yeah. When we start putting animations in it, we have to go through by hand and make sure things look right. And it's just
right. But we definitely think about, when we look at the skins, we think about them like in different directions too. We think about sort of like alternate versions of skins. So like when we have DJ Ada, it's kind of like an alternate version of her. And then, I think you were specifically asking about ultimate versions. We definitely think about like tiers of ultimate versions of skins for characters. And so those are things that are coming out. Like Goddess Nye, or Snake Goddess Nye. Right, is a recent version of like, that's her kind of amped up to 11, and so we will very, very likely be hitting those kind of really dialed up versions of all the different characters at some point. Snow Ryan, that's amazing.
Like the Thatch Cannonballs.
That's amazing.
Exploding presidents, exploding snowballs. That's all fun. I don't know that we're doing that, but it is an interesting idea. Will you get skins for free because I asked? I like that you're trying. The answer is still no. Sorry, the easy one. So unranked 1v1 queues. So this is something that we've kind of debated about. The thing about unranked 1v1 in any sort of like non-standard format is the queue explosion would just be huge, right? It's like, oh, okay, well, there's unranked 1v1, and then there's 3v3, and then there's 4v4, and then there's 3v3 brawl ball, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So what we want to try and do is have basically the custom games grouping, right? So you can make any type of game you want. You can make it public, not the public that's in there now, and then it just shows up in a list. Whether that feels and looks like a queue, but then sticks you in a lobby, whether you just browse it and find it, that's ultimately where we want to go with the more casual stuff. Gives you it because you're playing casually, it'll let you find someone to play with, maybe play a few games, rather than ranked, which is very much like, give me the best opponent that you can find right now, and then give me a new one, and let's see how far I can climb. So that's where we want to go with the unranked stuff. Yeah. That's the best answer I have right now.
A couple people have mentioned story mode, or maybe the same person has mentioned story mode several times. Story mode is something that we tried. We like the idea of it, and we want it in the game. We thought we could put a version in pretty quickly, and all of the things that we thought would be fun were really bad, and it was not fun at all. So we didn't put it in. That doesn't mean we don't want to do it. That just means that our initial estimate at what it was going to take, sort of effort-wise and time-wise, to put into the game was off. And so we need to revisit it as a full-fledged feature to put some real resources behind, which means it's not happening soon TM. Mm-hmm. It's something that we'll evaluate as we go down the road. But it is something that we really want to do. We do a lot of work on the stories for all of these characters, and you can see the backbone of that in their lore, right? So to us, this is a very fleshed out world. It's got all sorts of stuff going on, and we would love more ways to showcase that and have more things for just solo players to be able to do. Tournament mode is fun and playing bots is fun, but story mode would be great. And so it's something that we will continuously go back to and reevaluate and see, is this the right time? Do we have the ability to put the resources it needs to make it good in the game? Because we don't just want to like shoehorn something in just to be like, there it is, there's a feature, we got it, see, you asked for story mode and it's in. Because we want to make sure that it's good.
In-game tournament feature. So yes, we'd like to do something like this. We'd like to do instant tournaments. We'd like to do more organized tournaments. Ultimately, we want to run tournaments. And so the more we can aid ourselves in making that process manageable by making in-game features, that'll help. So when, I can't speak to that, but we definitely like what's going on with the tournament scene. We see, the sort of impromptu tournaments come up, and it'd be great to kind of support that in-game as well.
Well, there's a lot of good time-sensitive skins in chat, I think. Yeah, there's some good stuff in there. Dosuto, is the game going to be free to play on PS2, PS4 as well? Yes, absolutely. We are a free-to-play game, period. Cosmetic-based, no content or power in any platform that we go to is for pay. It's all cosmetic-based. We are, wherever we go, we will be free to play.
So special effects for skins, special effects take a long time. Yep. They really do. And so kind of trying to find the right price would put the skin at too expensive for you to want us to release it almost. Maybe that'll change over time and maybe we'll find a way to do it. As of right now, it's not planned, but, again, we're always open to suggestions.
It also would take another, like the posing crab and stuff, it would take an entire other system to be developed on the code side to be able to support it as well. So there is a lot of work that would have to go into it for that to happen. I mean, it doesn't mean it's not something that we would love to do, but it's that's a big undertaking. Big undertaking.
The game will not be free on PS2. It will not exist on PS2.
That's true. That is very true. Any plans to explore other game modes or improve the ones we currently have? Yeah, absolutely. We like them. The problem is we wind up finding there's this, I wanted to say uncanny valley, but it's not an uncanny valley. There's this weird place where most of our games fall, which is they're good for a chuckle or they're fun just for a brief amount of time, but they don't stand up to like playing again and again. So we've got about 6 game modes that are kind of like they're amusing and you have a little bit of fun with them. We're hesitant to add them as in the game as a full-fledged feature without finding a way to wrap that up correctly or convert them into games that have longer staying power like Brawl Ball or Bombsketball. And even if you look at those two, Bombsketball is totally fun and people do play it, but you can tell Brawl Ball just has more meat to it, right? That one is like is definitely the most successful alternate game mode that we did. And so, we kind of have this spot where, again, we have to figure out where our resources are going and how much effort we're putting into a thing that's going to go into the game, where we have this sort of pile of really fun, briefly kind of games, and do we try to take those and convert them into a Brawl Ball, or do we start from scratch to try to make something that'll last as long as Brawl Ball? But it's something that we'll continue to do. I mean, we're a live game, and we're gonna add all of everything as the game continues to go. So we'll constantly be coming back and being like, okay, what does community want now? Oh, community really wants a new way to play the game. Okay, great. Let's focus on a new game mode. So yeah, definitely in the plan at some point. Again, I wouldn't put it in soon TM territory, but it's on the docket.
Up and coming gadgets. We kind of sat on them. We tried a lot of weird stuff. The best gadgets tended to be explosive. So like, I know one that's sort of sitting around as we really should test that is the Kaboomerang. The Boomerang was like, maybe, Kaboomerang. Okay, now I can see that working. But it's tough because when you add a gadget, there's a fixed amount of gadgets that are going to spawn that basically decides weapon or gadget, and then it picks from the pool of gadgets. So when we put in a new one, we're lessening the frequency of everything else. And when people like the gadgets that exist, we have to make sure the new one is strong enough to that people are excited when it shows up, and not just, I wish that was, a bomb instead.
Part of the creed, community wants anything and everything. What do you prioritize? What I want. If it's a dead tie, then we just get to pick. It's not usually a dead tie, though. Final bows. Is there a way to get the community Scarlet skin? Well, I'm not sure what you're talking about. There is a Scarlet skin that may have been seen like at conventions that hasn't been released yet, and that will get released. But that's kind of the only thing that I can think of. I don't know about a community Scarlet skin.
When will the game be complete and not in open beta? So that's a tricky one. So the game will never really be complete because we're going to keep adding to it. We're going to keep making new features. So when is it going to go from open beta to not open beta? A little bit it'll be like, do we have the core features that we feel like anyone that picks it up will be excited with what they're playing? Like, do we feel like we fixed enough of the bugs that you're going to have a pretty clean experience?
Like tutorial is a great example, right? There's no tutorial in the game. We are not going to be coming out of open beta without a tutorial, right? So there's a list of, like, the game is full and featured and meaty, and once you get in and you start playing, there is all sorts of stuff in there. But there are just things that we feel need to be there before it is finished. And another part of that is that we need the community feedback to help us know when the product is finished too. So that's why we have early access and all of you awesome, amazing people that are helping us figure out what makes the game like a finished package.
Will there ever be a weapon gadget, one that can combo and stuff? So there was a time, and this is just me, that I even thought, hey, maybe a bow should just be a gadget. Now, we're happier we made it into a full weapon, and that might just be what happens whenever we try to make a gadget that combos. But maybe. It's tough. Gadgets, what we think of the gadgets, or at least how I think of the gadgets, is there's something you use to re-engage or change the field, right? And so like with a bomb, you can throw a bomb to change how the person is positioned, maybe get a little bit of zone control. You can definitely do that with a mine. You place the mine, now the player has to think differently about how the game's playing. With a new weapon, I don't know, like a weapon gadget, I don't know that would be true because we've kind of already got that with the weapon system. But I'll never say never. It's just gadgets fill a slightly different role than weapons do in terms of how you're supposed to use them to engage with the other player.
So I'm going to get two questions that are totally unrelated. Fizek, why don't we release skins with more frequency? Because, like you said, not all at once, but with more frequency. They take a lot of time to make, and so we have to make sure that we have a backlog that we can continue releasing sort of periodically. And so like if we did release them more frequently, we would kind of run out of them, and then we would be in a spot where you would just have to wait for a long time before you would get the next one. So it's it's always it's always a tough decision because we get these cool skins and we're like, oh, yeah, people want these, and this one's done and it's ready, and it's like, okay, but we need to make sure that we plan it out in a way that makes sense. And then the other one was, why can't you take 3 players with you when you go online? 2 players, even like taking one of your friends, even was a pretty controversial thing for us to do. There's another fine line there where we want you to be able to play with your friends the way you want to play. But if you're taking 3 friends into online and getting a random other person, and that person's not opting into that, they just know that they're going into a 4-player game, it's not the best experience for them. Because even if you aren't like colluding and just teaming up on that one player, which we get enough complaints about 2 players doing that, even if you're not doing that, they're still just kind of an odd person out, right? And they're just not the same circle group of friends, and they wouldn't have a way to know that. So I mean, we might be able to find a way to have sort of a looking for group system at some point where you can to help you fill out a roster, but I don't think it's going to be in that free-for-all queue, just because it'd just be a little awkward for that person, really. Marco8, is there a way to get the community colors? Yeah, enter PSX Hype right now, all caps. I don't think you have to do all caps, but do it in all caps, all one word, PSX Hype, and I'll do a drawing right now. Here we go, right now. PSX, well, I mean, we'll give you just a little bit of time just so you can get that PSX Hype in there. PSX hype. Let me go through that list. Can I go down that list? Oh no. Oh no, stop. That was bad. Sorry. Emil Numsterod. Emil Numstrolled. I'm sure that's just, I'm just missing what that word is. Okay, let me make sure. Okay, good. Marquitz is in. All right. PSI hype. Now, Dan, just because you can't win doesn't mean you should try to get people to type in the wrong word. Okay, here we go. PSX hype. That was enough time for people to enter. Let's see who's going to get the next community colors. Final bows. That is pretty amazingly rigged, I have to say. I mean, it's not like, you know, as completely rigged as it would have been if it was Marquotes, but that was pretty rigged. I'd say that was like a 9 out of 10 on the rigged scale, personally. I mean, I'm kind of proud of myself. Oh, I love it. Community colors. That's what. Community colors. Community colors. We're gonna do more giveaway though.
I got the question was.
We're gonna do another giveaway though, so you know, don't despair. Hang in there. All right, so Fizek has a good question or a good idea. Like, what if we made unyet released skins a tournament prize, and then like we release them later in the store? That's actually a really good idea. I kind of like that. The biggest reason I could give you right now is that's a lot of coordination. And we're really focused on getting the game going. But I like that idea. I like that train of thought. I think there's something really cool there, kind of like a way to sort of be first, based on being involved with those tournaments. But then it just kind of opening up to everybody. I kind of dig that. There's a lot we want to do with tournament support and tournament prizes, and we have some really cool stuff planned in the works for that is, if not exactly that, kind of along those lines as well. Huh? Yeah, I'll give you a pen.
All right, we got a lot of questions that didn't get answered. So, starting from the top, I'll just run through the. Well, we'll take our time with them. Will there be skins with custom animations and particle effects? Kind of goes to the same thing about are we gonna have skins with different special effects? It's just sort of a big ask internally, but. Again, we'll see. We're always interested in finding new, fun cosmetics for people.
Yeah, I wouldn't rule it out. We're still, one thing to keep in mind is, I know that for a lot of you, you've been with us for a long time. You've gone from closed beta to open beta. We're really just fresh into open beta, and so we are still making like the core of the game, right? And so those kind of like where we go from there, like where we go, what's the top end? What's the taking it to 11 with costumes, we're not entirely sure yet. So that kind of stuff, there's a chance that that'll happen, but it'll probably be like later down the road when we are freed up and have a little bit more resources to put on stuff that's not like fleshing out the rest of the game. Deluxe Joe, can you get skins for the bow? Absolutely. Yeah, we're gonna do that for sure. Don't you worry.
Can we get a price estimate on the exclusive cosmetic? If you're referring to the PS4 exclusive cosmetic, I believe the plan is that is just something you'll automatically get when you're a PlayStation Plus subscriber.
Yeah, I'm not sure where, if it's Plus or I'm not entirely sure. Okay. Yeah, the idea, like if you're talking about price range, like the value of the item, excluding the fact that it's an exclusive, it'll be right in line with other like costumes, or if it's a color, the other colors or something like that. But yeah, it's not planned for that to be like a in-store monetary thing.
will there be animated stages, like birds flying in the background, etc.? Yes, so this is something we would like to do. It's kind of been on our wish list for a while to add a little more life to the stages. Part of it is we want to make sure anything we add doesn't hurt performance. So we're always fighting that trade-off, is that if we think we have things that are good for performance spot, and adding something new hurts that, then we never should have added that new thing. So it just takes some time to test. Part of working on this PS4 port, we will be shifting engines a little bit. So that's definitely going to open up more opportunities than potentially we had before, because we'll sort of get more access to information on your machine. So yes, eventually there will probably be animated background stages, which is to be kept separate from the the ones that have the moving platforms.
Right. Jay Lazy, you were saying if we did that kind of idea that was being thrown, that Physek tossed out about having unreleased costumes be winnable in tournaments and only a small portion of the player base would be able to get them. The idea wasn't that would be exclusive to those. Oh, no, you were referring to my suggestion about adding prize support to tournaments and stuff. So, never mind. Yes, those would be very exclusive. But maybe not as exclusive as you were thinking. So, just hang in there. We got a plan. We'll start building that feature out and start letting you see what's involved. It'd be pretty good. And, I'm not against having stuff that only, our core players are, super dope and can get to, not necessarily meaning only the best of the best of the best or anything like that, but we'll see. We got ideas, we got plans.
So to the follow-up questions on the animated backgrounds and everything. So no, we wouldn't add them if they distracted you. Obviously it would be, do we think that we could pull it off where it's adding to the sort of immersion on the stage rather than ruining any sort of the gameplay. It's why you might notice a lot of the levels kind of towards the center, there's not a lot in the far background, and it's because we've got platforms there, and the platforms are moving in and out with the camera, and so we found when we put art there, it would sort of pop in and out and be very distracting. So we're always sensitive to that. As for what new engine, we are just going from, so right now we're a blend, we're using Air for our rendering, and then we do our scripting in AS3, we do some of our code in C++, obviously the server's its own separate beast. We're just switching to full C++. So we're not using any out-of-the-box engine. We're just going to migrate from where we are now to just native C++.
Flame Haze, you're asking about nerfing heavy weapons. You're thinking they hit a little too hard and they don't have too many downsides. Specifically, if you have info on weapons that you think aren't feeling right, make sure you hit us up with feedback. You can go to the subreddit. You can go to the Steam forums. You can just email us at support@brawlhalla.com and let us know. We'll take a look. We haven't seen anything that indicates that the heavier weapons are outperforming the other weapons right now, but that doesn't mean that there's not something there.
Will there ever be a shield weapon? Maybe. I mean, I wish I had a better answer for you than that. It is a weapon that we talk about. It is a weapon we think would be interesting. Where is that on the timeline? I can't actually
It's also a weapon that is going to be hard to get right. That would be a weapon similar to the bow. When we started the bow, we knew that was going to be a long haul to figure out how to get the bow to feel right. Shield is the same thing. It means different things to different people, and some of those things are very terrifyingly scary. And so making sure that it felt like a shield but still match the game style, it'd be a long haul, so it's not going to be an easy weapon to get right.
Can we have a preview of what the new weapon is? Not yet. When we get closer, we will start talking about it. Right now, we're still filling out the bow a little bit more. Obviously, there's only one character in there right now.
Yeah, and axe too. We still have quite a few characters to fill in with the axe.
Yeah, which the other question is how many more axes are we going to see? And so I'll go ahead, axes, bows. There will be a fair amount of that coming soon.
Yep. So, and then once we start getting a little bit further down the road of the next weapon, we'll start showing it off. We like to show stuff off early.
That's all right. To be clear, there will be characters with axes and something, and there will be bows and something. There will not be a lot of bow axe characters. There will be one bow axe character.
Right. Plucker Puck, you were asking if we still use win rate as a measure of what to nerf and buff, because you think that's bad instead of looking at play rate at different elos being better. We use all of that. We use aggregate numbers. We slice it up into little bands. We slice it up per character. We slice it up per stat. We slice it up per elo rating. We slice it up per difference by elo rating. We look at the data in a lot of different ways. And most importantly, we use it as a lens to look at what we see in the game and to interpret what the player feedback is and to verify what player feedback is and try to figure out what the right action is. So it's not infallible, and it's not like you can't just look at a spreadsheet and be like, yep, that game is fun. There's way more to it than that. But yes, I agree. Just looking at like an aggregate, like this is how much this weapon wins, isn't going to give you a lot of detail on balancing, and it could be something that is very hard to use in the low levels or early play, and very easy to use or very deadly in the hands of somebody who's experienced, and you wouldn't see that if you didn't look harder into the data. And so we do a lot of digging in the data. Yes, so fear not.
As a follow-up to our designated agent that basically asked, are we going to make any characters with the same weapon combinations but different stats? So not yet. I'm not going to rule it out as something we'll never do, because obviously there are some combinations that are more popular than others, and potentially there's worth exploring there. Would Hattori play differently than sword and spear, some sort of
Viking
warrior?
with sword and spear.
Yeah, sure. Could we make that happen? Especially once you factor in the signatures? Maybe. Right now we see a lot of value in making new weapons, though. But yeah, it's something we're thinking about. It's definitely what makes the characters unique, but it's not a hard rule that we will guarantee to never break ever.
Yeah, and we've also talked about having, for weapons that are popular like the sword or the spear, having another weapon that is similar, not as different as the weapons have been in the past. Like after we get some more heavy weapons, like more different weapons in, like bow and maybe shield or stuff like that. Maybe there's another style of sword, like a hatchet or something like that, that's similar to how the sword plays but different, and we could hit some of those double combos that people want to see. But again, that's all just like totally theoretical. None of that is actually in the plan right now. But just kind of giving you some like different ways that we've looked at it as well.
So the question, will PC and PSN servers be connected? So technically speaking, there are servers, so we can let anyone connect to it that we want. If we made a mobile version of the game, they could connect to the same servers. It's more a question of, will it work, right? So if you're playing with a PC person's version and the PSN version, can we make sure that they're on the same version of the game at the same time? Can we make sure they can communicate? One has a keyboard, one doesn't. Is one writing questions, the other one's just saying GG. So that kind of stuff we'll have to sort through, but that's all, as long as everyone's good with it. And we definitely like Sony because they're more open to cross-platform play. That's why we see it as a very good partnership for us. We'll make it work in the best way that we can. Certainly once you're in game, it's a little easier from a matchmaking perspective because you're both on controllers, you're both just playing each other. It's the sort of out-of-game clan social interaction stuff still could work. We'll see.
Yeah.
And yes, I'm going to use maybe sometimes. Maybe doesn't mean I'm not giving you an answer. It means I don't know the answer. It means we're thinking about it. Yeah. So
we will definitely be looking very hard to make cross-platform play work. It's a thing that we think is very, very good. Once we start in on it and we start seeing the realities of it, that's the thing that could change.
Also, there's no mobile version. I have no idea how you play Brawlhalla on your phone, and the lag would just be terrible. I'm sorry. Bad example. No phone mobile version.
Maybe means confirmed. Part of the creator is definitely not a producer, because
that's right.
that's not the other definition of maybe that I know. Also, a couple people have asked, is there a way to get Metadev skins without actually meeting us physically and in person? The answer is no, but also yes. So the no is we give them out to people that we meet physically. That's the way that we get them. That's where the no answer comes from. But the yes is anytime we're at a convention, go watch Twitter and Twitch and Facebook, because there are a lot of people that will get them from us at conventions, and then they will pass them on because they're not going to use it. And so if you pay attention to when we're going to conventions, and after those you kind of just search for Brawlhalla on social media sites, you can very often pick one up. And then also we are really keen on trying to get to places where people are, and like Tivera said, we very much want to go to Gamescom, for instance, and so that we can meet all of our European players, and there's a lot of our European players, and we would really like to get to meet you, and if we did that, then certainly we would be bringing plenty of Metadev cards with us.
Are we ever going to do a vote to see which legend we want? You're welcome to have a vote, and we will read it, and we will take it very seriously. But we are not going to do... Let's see, what's the best way to phrase this? We're not going to do our... Just like we do right now. We read, we see what people like, and it guides our development process. But voting would just kind of throw a real wrench in that, because you guys don't know what things we've got going on. We've already, we try and plan things in advance. So have the votes.
Also voting, and again, this is all caveated with we live on player feedback. It drives everything that we do. But voting would be only a subsection of the player base. So there's a lot of players that aren't represented on, for instance, on Twitch. So if we just did a vote here, only a small section of, and of course the most important and lovely section of our community is here on Twitch. But it would always be like a small section of players, and so not as a this is exactly how we're gonna do it, but we're always watching when people are talking about what they want to be their next thing. I mean, somebody was bringing up the Scythe, and that's definitely, it moved way up on our list because of the talk that players were having about what they thought the next cool weapon should be. So just as an example,
I don't quite follow this one. Well, I can answer this. So, do we plan seasons for Ranked? Yes, we do. No, they will not be monthly and weekly. They will be longer than that. You're looking at more, I'd say closer to annually would be my guess. Maybe faster than that, but yes. I mean, we kind of did our first trial one with no real announcement, rewards, or anything like that for beta season 0. We still have the leaderboards from that, so we'll find some way to make that fun to look at eventually. And then we reset ELO and everyone started again. So when we do future seasons, it might be a little different. You might keep some of your ELO so that you don't have to play diamond players in your first game and think, oh my gosh, this is not fun at all. But as for the exact length, not sure yet. But we definitely plan to have seasons. And we'll do something fun with them. Specifically rewards, because that's probably all what you're worried about. We'll come up with some recognition, reward, in-game something or other that will sort of indicate, hey, I was a diamond player in Season 2.
Physic, what is the plan for the 2016 Metadev skin? That's a really good question, and that's one that we haven't decided on internally. So there's a... our initial thought was it would be kind of cool to kind of do new ones, and so it would be the people that are coming to see us at the convention again for the second time would have the other one. But then also there's going to be a lot of new people that really like the Orion skin, and so we're not entirely sure. We're a little bit conflicted about what to do there, but we'll find out really soon, because we'll be doing PAX South really soon, and that'll be the first convention we're doing for a second time after we've done Metadev. So very shortly we'll have an actual decision on that. So
Rashid, input delay. So I've been through literally every check-in since the previous patch. I can't find anything that would account for added input delay. So the new plan is to basically make a build very specifically for people that are experiencing that can record some additional debug information to give back to us. The best guess that I have right now is potentially the new weapon animations are slowing down people's frame rates on occasion, which would then maybe lead to you missing a frame every now and then and it feeling like input delay. That's my best guess is where it is at the moment. I have a few names of people who have mentioned it, and I will reach out to them directly once I get a build that they can try.
Tybo asking if there was a consideration to having special attacks per character for all of the heavies, including ground pound and recovery. Yes, definitely there was, and we tried it. And the thing that we landed on is because a core part of the idea behind the weapon system is that it lets you translate from character to character more easily, so the ones that share weapons. When we had different behaviors on ground pound and recovery, because those are such critical movement powers, it felt very weird and foreign going between the two different characters with the similar weapons. I mean, it's been a while since we've looked at that, but also we're pretty far down the road. That would be a significant amount of work to go back and do that. So I would say it's probably not very likely. There was a reason behind why we did it that way. So yeah, we did think about it, and it is, it would be, we would need. It would need to be a very, very big, notable improvement for us to bite off the work that it would take to go back and redo all those moves.
What does the future hold? Different weapons, different combinations of weapons. Yes and yes. I mean, that's it. We like new weapons. They add a lot to the game. We like adding new combinations. That also, we feel, adds a lot to the game. So that's just sort of the roadmap, is you'll keep seeing new legends, and as over time, new weapons will get introduced, and that'll create all new pairings. When will a new skins update be released? We are just we're doing them as we can. They'll always be with the more major patches, and pretty much most of what has been said about how the skin development process works still holds true there.
And also, we are very much, I was about to, I'll go ahead, I'll do it. We have a good feeling, solid game that's got a lot of stuff in it, and in many ways it feels very complete. But we are still definitely in open beta, and it's not just a term or a name. So one of the things that we're doing is we're finding what our cadence is. So we're finding, how fast can we make characters? How fast can we make weapon skins? How often do we release them? How often do they show up on the store? All of those answers are things that we're doing right now. So, it's kind of, I can't believe it's been basically a month since we went to open beta. Like, it feels like it's been ages and ages, but we're still we're in a very new stage of development. And so it'll take us a little while to figure out, exactly what the pace is for everything.
Will there be voice chat on consoles? It would probably just be through Sony's party system. We wouldn't do anything different other than just giving you the hooks to use that. But, again, we'll find out over time. What about nunchucks as a weapon? Not impossible.
Yeah, nunchucks are cool.
Would a rapier be possible? Not impossible. We're, again, mentioned before, we're kind of very early in getting bow characters out. As that sort of wraps up, we'll be able to start talking about the new weapons a little more. In the past, we've actually debated and mocked up and tried to figure out not only what's cool, what's unique, what makes a great amount of characters, but what changes Brawlhalla, right? Why is this weapon added to the game make Brawlhalla a better game than before this weapon existed?
Jay Lazy, sometimes a maybe is just a maybe. There isn't always a more definitive answer than that, and sometimes a maybe isn't there are no plans for it, or it is in the docket. Sometimes a maybe is actually just flat out a maybe.
Yes. If there's a particular maybe you'd like me to expand on, I'm happy to. Maybe.
Can we get a giant spoon as a weapon? Deluxe Joe. Maybe. No. So it does bring up a good point. Again, that's one of the things that we kind of mess around with is, what is the line between something that is a cosmetic item for fun and something that is a functioning weapon? Because at the end of the day, you are definitely still knocking somebody out of the arena with what would be a giant spoon. Now, we have stuff that we've tried on both sides of that line, right? Nash has the megaphone hammer, looks pretty solid, but he's got a giant foam finger as a spear. It doesn't play well for everybody, so that we kind of, I would say that likely a giant spoon, not in the near future. It might start kind of opening up again, but I think right now we're on a pretty solid, the things that we do, they can be fun and they can be cool and they can be different and they can be weird, but they definitely still need to look like they're going to whack you out of the arena with no problem. So. Closest we might get to a giant spoon is maybe like a big heavy shovel or something like that in the near future, but probably not like a big breakfast spoon right now.
Let's see. Did you already do our new character stats confirmed yet?
I did, yeah,
okay.
And I don't think they are.
I don't think they are.
Yeah.
Okay.
Not confirmed yet. Fruit themed skin pack, right? Mila, I'll let you in on a little secret. We have a sketch somewhere of a Carmen Miranda Orion. with the fruit hat and everything. Yep.
Will there be a feature game mode that includes random superpowers at the start of the game, like super knockback, random weapon, extra high jump, one-hit knockout? So where we want to go with features and game modes and things like that is we want to open up a lot of stuff in advanced custom game settings so you can kind of make something that you want. But in terms of trying to guess all the different crazy things people will want, that's pretty hard for us to do. Super knockback, it's kind of in there with 200% damage. If we wanted to add an increased impulse, if a lot of people thought that was fun, we could add it. Each one comes with a little bit of development time and the complexity of the screen, so we have to balance that with it. But if there are settings people want, I actually think one that I've seen that would probably go into advanced settings is, how many jumps do we have? Well, I mean, do you really want 4 jumps? Well, it's easy enough once we have that system in place for us to make that one of the parameters you can edit, and then go nuts. But that will be, for custom and offline games, not online.
Not here today, just so I don't forget. If you're planning on doing a tournament, get in touch with Rathan and talk to him about it, and he'll talk to you about tournament support type stuff. Also, the NATO wanted to know if it was time to do another giveaway, and I think you are right. I think it's time to do another giveaway. Thanks for the reminder. So enter PSX Hype if you want to get involved in this giveaway. PSX Hype, all one word. We'll give just a couple of seconds for people to get in there and enter that. We'll do another roll here. PSX Hype. Reindeer Nash skin. When? Would that be like a stuffed reindeer, or would that be like actually Rudolph's head?
Will the collector's edition go on sale for Christmas? I don't know that we announce sales ahead of time. I don't think it will be.
Yeah, we definitely don't announce sales ahead of time.
Someone was saying something. They were talking about Mortal Kombat's Test Your Luck as a kind of game mode. We've actually done some experimenting with different sort of like challenges and one-off things. We didn't really get them to the spot where they thought they were fun enough yet, but it's certainly something that I think we will be revisiting.
Okay, here we go. We're gonna do this roll. It looks like the adding players or adding viewers has slowed down a little bit. Here we go. We're gonna do the roll in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. That countdown was definitely not long enough for anybody. It was like by the time they hear that countdown, it's already rolled.
It's already
the Justice Ranger. I'm still pointing at the camera, even though I'm not on screen. The Justice Ranger, you get community colors. Community colors. All right, there was a host of good questions there that went by. Will there be a magic weapon? That's something that we've talked about. Could we do like a magic orb or like a wand or like a staff to throw out magic stuff? It's a thing that gets talked about. We haven't found a solution for it that we like. We haven't found a place for it like in the scheduled plan. But it is a thing that we are aware of and that we talk about. Beat up a car, Street Fighter beat up a car. Oh, it's so good. And will that car come back as a legend in Brawlhalla? 2 or more cats. That's the best thing I've heard in a long time. Like the beat up car. Like, oh man. Oh man. That would be so hilarious. Probably not. But I like where your head's at.
Rotations like leagues featured game modes for them. I think part of the context of this question got lost. My guess is this is saying for our sort of fun game modes, would we consider just having sort of a bi-weekly rotation that you would just sort of play those, and each couple of weeks it's something different, like it's Bombskaball, and then it's Brawl Ball, and then it's something we haven't created yet. That's definitely an interesting way to roll them out. I'd like to get to a spot where we have more than just a couple fun ones, but if we do get there, I could definitely see that if it's not in the custom game list, finding some way for it to be featured so that we can kind of get people to collect around one, get some better feedback on it.
Henry 1350 cent 117. Will there be an ultimate move? Probably not. We tried with things like that, like something that you charge up and you release this giant big mega move at the end. We didn't like that it felt like at one moment in the game kind of almost on a random element with such a huge swing in the game potential. We liked everything to be kind of more in tune and balanced, so that when you win, it's something that you really had to earn. So likely not. That's the thing. We didn't like it when we tried it.
So the question, an option for 1v1 and 2v2 ranked. I'm not sure the stance on maps later down the road. Will we keep the current maps, change out deleted maps on a regular basis? Right now they do map elimination picking. We'll be adding the option to veto X amount of maps. So kind of a two-part question there. We like the maps that are in there. We like to have a good amount of variety. We do still change maps that are live in the rotation.
Yep.
You know, King's Pass got a late change. Grumpy Temple's seen some changes. Just because it's in the rotation doesn't mean it's guaranteed to stay. You know, maybe Shipwreck Falls is too small for 2v2, in which case we might make a dedicated 2v2 Shipwreck Falls. Basically, the map, it was on the borderline. We kind of wanted to test it, and it's still pretty fun. So, you know, we're always open to feedback on which maps we want to kick. Will we add a feature that allows you to veto? In custom, sure. In ranked, we're debating that. We're not sure if that just, you know, should you be vetoing or should you be voting? If you're voting, does that just open up the opportunity for someone to pick your least favorite map constantly and force people to all fight on what is considered by the community to be the least fun map? So that's the kind of stuff we're grappling with in ranked. But in custom, you know, we want to expand custom and the social elements of the game even more, so that you can really sort of hop on and do whatever you guys want to do.
Oramus BH, clan support is planned. Is there any more news on that? No more news specifically on clan support. We have a couple of social features and additions that we want to get in place first. Some more basic stuff like, you know, being able to invite somebody to your lobby instead of having to contact them and give them your room number and that stuff. So we have some more basic stuff to get in place first, but then we do definitely plan on still doing clan support for sure.
Maybe add chat while you're playing. So I can speak pretty strongly confident that we will not add that in ranked. But it's not impossible we add that in custom. I'm curious if a lot of people want that. You know, when customs are done, you kind of go back to chat, so there's not a lot of opportunity to talk during the game. I can maybe see it working in something like Brawl Ball. We also have to keep in mind, when the chat box is there, it's taking up gameplay space, and right now the only way that it works in practice is by disallowing mouse clicks on everything. So if hitting enter and chatting is a way that could work, I certainly don't see why adding it as an option for people who want to chat during game could be there. But again, very specifically, that would only be a custom feature. Other than signature moves, are there going to be more gameplay aspects that make the different characters more unique? So we're always trying to make sure the stats make them feel unique, and obviously the weapons go a long way. Past that, with the signatures, we're kind of happy with where those three come together to make the characters different. We do want to make sure switching from one character to another is not sort of an overwhelming experience, because, oh, you know what? I've been playing Hattori for a month. I'm ready to try something new. Well, if the character you want to try has a spear or a sword, all right, well, maybe you're familiar with how to play it. Or if they're fast, okay, I know how to get into that. Or maybe they have SIGs like Hattori, I'll try that character. So having some familiarity there, I think, is good for the game. And so we're going to be careful not to steer too far from that.
Not here today. You know, we've mentioned a couple of times, get in touch with Raiden. He put his email in the chat a couple times if you're interested in doing tournaments and getting support. Get in touch with him directly. There was another one.
I think that's all
Captain
the questions
Swag,
that I have
anything,
that were printed up.
Captain Swag, anything being fixed for spammers? We just did in the last updates live, right?
The last update is live.
We did fix a bug that was making the cooldown period between the same weapon not as long as it was supposed to be, so it should be much easier to punish people who are spamming now after this last update. So
yeah, there should be. Yeah, we're hoping to try and find the spot where it doesn't feel sticky on controls, but you can't kind of go back and forth. You know, just I'll do this sig and then this thing, because individual moves have a cooldown to prevent, you know, a same move over and over spam. But at the same time, sig. We know it's a complaint. So 10 frames is where it's at right now. But we're open to adjusting that in the future if we think that's the right way to tackle that problem.
Sloshila was asking if we would ever think about adding some sort of color your own legend. The colors are very specific. We work on them to try to make sure that they don't overlap too much, and we don't always get it right. And they're a nice reward that you get as you're leveling up. But I like the ideas that people have been giving about it being an ultimate reward or sort of a thing that you unlock for a character or something like that. So, I wouldn't say that it's in the plan, but when people are talking about it in that way, I definitely don't want to put rewards on something on character level like 100 or 150. That's just an enormous amount of time. We don't really want to put like an official incentive to get your character up that high. So it probably won't be there, but I do kind of like that idea of at some point letting you have some way to do some customization of a color palette for your character. But we'll likely wait for that for a little bit because we do think that we're going to be doing more special colors as rewards like we did with community colors. People were asking if we were thinking about doing a Christmas or a holiday color set, and we are definitely thinking about it. But we were also thinking about doing a Halloween one, and we didn't quite get that out the gate. So, don't get too excited yet. But that's the kind of stuff that we want to be doing, and we're just trying to balance that with finishing out the game and doing special stuff for the game that's currently live as well. So we'll see.
The data API questions. Yes, it's still on our roadmap. It kind of got delayed because our database has grown a lot since going open, and some of it is structured well for querying and getting sort of cached out on demand. Other things aren't necessarily. So when we release it to you, we want to make sure it's in a spot that's not going to cause any performance issues or be cached incorrectly and then not be that useful. In particular, the first iteration that comes out will probably just be being able to pull people's ranked query information and get it all at once for all of their modes instead of having to switch between pages and get that information. And can someone in chat just let me know if they got this, because I'm assuming someone got this by now. But if not, I'm going to give it one last go, and then I'm done with the paper.
Somebody was definitely calling you their home slice, so I feel like that person
maybe
already noticed it.
Someone got the code. Okay.
Yeah, I feel like it's probably there. Will you ever do custom colors or legend-specific colors? They already have a legend-specific color set, but that's a decent idea too. That maybe you can unlock a second color set specific to that character. That's pretty cool. I'll pass that along to Oddling and see what he thinks of it. The only thing that I want to be careful of is we like to make sure that when you get those, the colors are kind of like a prestige thing for your characters. And so when you get that red color, or when you invest all of those coins and get white, or when you invest all of those coins and get black, we want to make sure that people know right off the bat how badass you are. And so the alternate color schemes could be really, really cool, but I don't know where they would go. It certainly would be a lot easier to identify an alternate color scheme on a character if it's different from character to character than it is to be like, oh, that's the black color scheme. We'll toss that idea around. I don't think that's anything that we've really put through the paces too much. So that's a good suggestion. Thanks.
As for why are there not colors at 50, 75, 100? Did you already answer this? Or?
I mean, kind of a little bit. It's just
we don't want to incur it's great, and we want to let you go where you want to go. But the moment we put a reward at 100, now everyone's got to grind to 100, and we made that happen. So no, it's really not something.
You still get the little bit of gold when you level up there, just because we want you to have something as a reward. But we like stopping the official rewards down at 25. Even 25 is a hard mark for most players to get to, and I know a lot of people in channel are way past 25, and that's awesome. And so we don't want to stop it for you, but we don't want to be sort of officially saying, oh, well, your character's not 150. Well, you're not done. Like, we kind of, if you get to 25, it's kind of like a good job. That's incredible. We got to be careful about that stuff. Level 72 is easy. Yeah. Okay, Crocky.
As for adding an AFK mode if you need to do something, so the only thing that we've kind of thought about on that is if you're playing custom, it would be feasible for us to allow someone to call for a pause. In match made, it's just not going to happen. There's just too much grief potential by, oh, you're winning. Okay, I'm just going to pause. I'm going to make you sit here for a minute before you finally get to finish me off. So again, match made, there's a lot more restrictions on what we can do in match made because we want to make sure there's not a way for someone to inadvertently not inadvertently, very directly create a bad experience for someone. In customs, we're much more open to implementing features because it's essentially the same as what we want is for it to feel like the 4 or 8 of you are sitting around a couch together, except you're not, you're online. So let's recreate that experience. And you can pause when you're sitting at the couch. Why not pause online? So it's, could make the feature list. Sure.
Blue Tiger, that's a good... I didn't realize that we weren't showing your character level in ranked matches, and yeah, maybe that's a good place that we can add it so that you can show off. Because we do, that's why we let the level keep going, is because if you are super dedicated to a character and you keep playing the hell out of that character, we want you to be able to be like, look, check it out. So yeah, we'll take a look at it and see if that's see if there's a spot for it there. Okay.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
I got 2 quick ones. So South American, we talked about a little bit before. So if you watch the VOD, but the short answer is yes, it's going to happen probably early next year. And local 8-player, one of the big issues is a lot of people play with Xbox controllers. There's just 4. That's all you can do. You can't add more than 4 controllers. Now, if you mixed and matched Xbox controller and Logitech controller and so forth, I think you might eventually be able to get to 8. And we're working on reworking how that's done so that it will support as many controllers as you have. So the answer is kind of a yes, that you could get 8-person local, but no, it's not going to be easy, and that's just sort of a hardware limitation of 4 Xbox controllers.
Yeah. I've also heard anecdotally just this week or just at the end of last week, I had somebody get in touch with me and tell me that there is a wireless adapter that will do it with Xbox One controllers or something like that. So it sounds like people are, like, hardware manufacturers are starting to realize that people might want more than 4 controllers, and so if that, the more that keeps happening, the easier it'll be for us to support. So okay, I'm gonna stop it there because we're pretty far over, which is great though. I love that people kept peppering us with questions. It's awesome. We should probably do AMAs more often than we do, because there's a lot of stuff out there. We like getting all the answers out there that we can, and the topics we pick aren't always the topics people want to hear. So, but what I'm going to do right now is it's time for the latch tool. Latch tool. Somewhere. Where is it? Where'd it go?
Is it that circle on the bottom next to the Steam icon on the left?
Nope.
Okay.
Nope. It's
Is
not
it
that.
Not running?
Oh, there it is. Professionals. It's been a pretty good stream as far as that goes. Hasn't been too nutty. We got chroma key. We don't have a swarm of bees or anything. It's crazy. What's going on? Ah, there we go. There's a little non-professional action. Okay, good. Yeah, somebody changed the resolution sound here. Okay, good. Sounds good. So, what are we giving away? So salty. It's been a while since we've given the so salty.
And you can tell by the way we type it.
So salty hype. Okay, for those of you who don't know, this is the Latch giveaway tool. Latch is an amazing game developer and streamer and friend of ours, and he makes this tool available. It is the best giveaway that you will ever see. He makes it available for everybody to use. If you do giveaways on your stream, just go check out his tool section and just give him a shout out when you use it. The way it works, you don't have to enter anything. You don't have to. You can PSX hype. That's awesome. You can salty hype. That's great. But I'm gonna manually automatically load everybody's name. When I hit this button, everybody's gonna get loaded in. Make sure, your volume. It's very quiet. The amazing music from Family Jewels is very, very quiet. So here we go. We're going to load the names. Everybody in chat right now, when I hit this button, boom, is going to be in the drawing. I'm going to go through here and get our devs out of there. Derailed can't hide anymore. Dirty Dolce's out. This is really so much fun. There's so many people, everybody's like, you really don't have to do this, but it's fun. No, I know, Moobot.
Leave him above.
If Moobot wins, we roll twice. So everybody wants Moobot to win. 1,100. Okay, here we go. Everybody ready? Here we go.
Oh yeah, it's nice and quiet.
It's nice and quiet, especially. So I turned it down for everybody else. It's full volume for us. We have to suffer for the people. Unless you're smart like Rathan, who just takes his headphones off. Which, when he did, I was like, what?
Can't you just adjust the sound mix? I won't do it live stream. We'll do it at a different time.
Yeah, we'll try that later. All right, here we go. Who's it gonna be? Who's it gonna be? Chiquerty. Little rigged, but that's okay. All right, Chiquerty, you have got 55 seconds to let us know in chat that you want it. You have to let us know that you want it in chat, or...
Yep, you got it. I see it.
Where? Oh, wow!
It's over. It's already over.
That was crazy fast. Chiquerty wins, defeats the monster. So rigged.
It was so fast, you could almost say it was rigged.
Yeah, it was almost like he knew he was going to win. Congratulations, Chiquerty, on So Salty Taunt. Good job beating that monster. The woos didn't even come out. Like, the woos didn't even happen in time.
He was paying attention.
And, I mean, I'm not saying that I'm going to encourage this, but the woos could start. Like, they don't have to wait for the delay. The woos could just start. Like, they could just start.
It's true. If they learn.
I mean, I don't want to, like.
15 seconds.
I just,
do it.
They could just start it. But no, man, he beat all the woos out. That is fantastic. Good job. I hope everybody enjoyed the AMA. If there were questions that we didn't get to, hopefully Rathan caught them, and we'll try to answer them too. Maybe we'll add this. I know there was a fact recently. Maybe we'll try to put a version of this up, or just point to the VOD or something. But yeah, always feel free to ask us. We like talking about the game and being as communicative as we possibly can. And thank you for coming out. If it was your first time and you haven't followed us, hit that little follow button. And was that right? Yeah, I think that was right. That was good. I think I got it.
Oh, wait.
Yeah.
I guess I can see it.
Yeah,
top.
you're on the. No, you're gonna be.
There we go.
You got to go on the other side though.
Isn't it?
Yeah. No. See, you're gonna be.
No.
Oh no, you're right. That's where it shows up when you. He got it.
This one.
Follow.
This
that
is the
one.
one.
Follow that one.
You think
hit that
this
follow
is easier?
button.
This one.
It'll let you know when we're going live. We stream at least twice a week. We do Tuesdays and Thursdays. Tuesdays is usually behind the scenes talky stuff. Usually playing the game, but the AMA was so intense that we didn't even get to play the game. Yep. But that's all right. Thursday's usually a little bit more like funsy, play the game and do some team modes and stuff like that. So anyway, thanks everybody for coming out. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you're as excited as we are about how we are about to grow as a game. It's really going to be fantastic. Just across the board, it's going to be a great experience. And both games. Somebody kind of asked it, and I don't think we ever answered it. Both games grow in parallel. We don't add features to one game and then not add them to the other game. It doesn't work like that. So the game just continues to grow, and it can be played on multiple platforms. That's how that works. I can't believe we didn't answer that. I can't believe it didn't get asked more than it did just right in the beginning. So looking forward to making this game better and bigger and have more places that people can play it. And we'll see everybody later. Take it easy. Thanks for coming out, everybody.
See you all. Thanks, guys.